Hey everyone, it's Docfire. Welcome to Docfire's Down and Dirty Reviews. If you're looking for unbiased reviews on autococker parts and markers, well, you've come to the right place. Because I have to buy this stuff out of my own pocket. Anyway, enjoy the show. And if you have a good time here, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. Have a good one. Hey everyone, it's Docfire, and it's time for another Docfire Down and Dirty tech video. Today's tech video is going to be on different marker lubrication. So, what I have here is I have your old trusty Outlast. I have the Tech T gun salve. This is a new product, the Ultra Silk, and then the everyone has used is the Dow 33 Light, or it's been rebranded with a whole bunch of different brands out there, but it's basically all their stuff is Dow 33. And kind of the plan here is, and then a little bit on these is the Dow 33 is a paste lubricant. The gun salve is a light grease. The Outlast is a synthetic lubricant, and it's a more of an oil type, and then the Ultra Silk is, I call it more of a cream style. So it's the lightest, between these being the thickest and this being the thinnest, and then this would probably be in the middle of that. And this is not necessarily considered a lubricant, although it is, of more of a, what they call a marker treatment. So it treats the metal, apparently, and the other components that you are coating it with, and it's allowing an action, anti-friction for that. So I have some lubes, I have some oils, and I have a treatment that is kind of a treatment and a lubrication at the same time. And the kind of the plan here is I'm going to test it with a regulator, and on an autococker. The autococker is just standard lube, probably Outlast in it. And I'm really looking at the performance of the regulator is what I'm going to do, and see if there's any changes between the lube on that. And so my plan is the regulator I'm going to use is, I have another one sitting here. I thought I brought two out with me. I guess I didn't. So this is commonly referred to as the Beehive regulator on the FEP Quest, and you're probably all going, well, why are you utilizing this regulator? Because it's actually a pretty good regulator. That's a lot of people, despite what a lot of people may say about it, it's actually not that bad. It's a Poppet style regulator, and one of the reasons why I'm utilizing this one, it's very easy to take apart. It uses number 15 O-rings on the piston. It's a Schrader valve style Poppet on the inside, and which I don't have to lubricate for this application. So really, I'm looking at the piston movement and see if there's actually a significant change in that, and then obviously the friction that is on the spring. And this regulator may have been like a factory team regulator or something like that, because the spring is polished, really smooth on the ground edges of it. And I've tested it, actually performs pretty decently for rigs that aren't being manufactured anymore. But that's kind of really the ease of taking it apart, so I can apply these different lubricants, because really I'm trying to see if there's any noticeable difference in a regulator. Now, a regulator, for everyone to know, is when this cycles, the piston doesn't really move that much. So we may not see any difference between the three of these, so let's bear that in mind. So the plan is first I'm going to lubricate it with the Outlast, and I will replace the O-rings on each hit of that. So let's get let's put the lubricants off to the side. We're going to use Outlast as the number 1, and get a piston here. I'm going to slap on 2 fresh O-rings on it, because it's a 2 O-ring piston. Brass. Everything's in the camera here. Not that it really matters if you guys see this. Alright, so here I'm going to put fresh O-rings in. I'm going to make sure I lube the inside of the cylinder, and put the fresh O-rings on each time I run a different lubricant on this regulator. And I'm going to kind of do this fast pace all the way through the reg dyno, and then I'll do the review of the reg dyno. We'll all slow it down, and we'll go back to the voice narration in the actual video. But another mental note is my reg was showing 220 psi. The reg gauge is blown out on that, and I think this gets down to about 171, 175 as we go through this. But it's fine. I'm shooting about 282 right now. But with that, let's get into reviewing the actual. All right, and we can go back through all these shots here. We took several shots. Probably about 20, give or take. All right, so here's our first shot at 8.77 milliseconds. Our second shot at 8.9. Third, 8.9. Okay, this was no paintball, which is interesting. So I went from 8 millisecond to a 22 millisecond. So it tells you what happens when you're trying to test this stuff out with like a muffler or a straight pipe. It actually changed it, and I could see where this valve bounces here. This is a valve bounce. There's a valve and the gun's bouncing. It's what my theory is, that's what's happening there. And so I had several shots that had that, so I'm going to blow past those. And I should be, there's another one. Yeah, here I am to 9.3, 9.2, 9.2, 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, 9.3, 9.7. So you guys can see the trend here. Okay, whoop, there was one more in there. It was a 9.7. There may be, yeah, and that's it. So we're about that, let's say an average about 9 millisecond on that, and that's with the Outlast. All right, so now we're going to do the Dow 33 Lite, and once again, you guys watch this, I've cleaned everything off, and I'm applying the lube, as usually recommended by manufacturer, although there's no manual for this rig that says anything, and drinking some beer there, and I'm going to hook it up here to the reg, which we know the reg gauge is screwed up, so okay, I get it. I need to fix that. Actually, later on, I actually tested that reg and readjusted it utilizing my transducer. All right, so we're going to go through the dyno here real quick, and then we're going to slow down the video and get back to reviewing the run. All right, and here we go. Folder, so save. There we go. And so let's go look at this. Go back to the beginning. All the way back. All right, first one I'm going to ignore. Second one, 9.33 milliseconds, 9.2, 9.29, 9.29, 9.1, 9.29, 9.3, 9.29, so basically 9.3s, 9.29, 9.21, 9.3. This is pretty consistent on a 9.2. That one didn't read. 9.4, 9.45, 9.45 is going up. So I'm going to say at probably an average of probably about 9.3, 9.32-ish. You know, 9.3. We'll say that's the average on that. And so, all right. So this is the Tech T gun sab, and once again, cleaning, fresh O-rings, and putting the lube in this. And so between the first two runs, I didn't notice a big difference. We had an average of probably 9.1 with the oil to 9.2 or 9.3 with that. So it wasn't a big difference with it. And I've always had good luck with the Tech T stuff. But, you know, there's always, I think just the right lube for the right job. So that kind of makes sense. But anyway, here we're going through the dyno on it, and once again, it's running about 173 psi, and I'm doing about 285. With that, we'll get into the actual review of the run. All right. So, 11 milliseconds, first shot. Next shot, 9.9, 9.9, 10. 9.8, 9.7, 10, 10, 9.9, 10, excuse me, 10, 10, 9.8, 10, 10, and that was it. So, all right, this is the run utilizing the Ultra Silk marker treatment and using their recommended lubing practices, which is putting the lube in the O-ring groove first, putting the O-ring on, and then whatever squeezes out, use that to lubricate the rest of the O-ring, and obviously O-ringing or lubing the inside of the cylinder wall so we don't squeegee any of that stuff away. And kind of a spoiler alert, folks, the Ultra Silk with this regulator actually performed the worst out of the three at 15.2 milliseconds, which isn't the end of the world. 15 milliseconds is still like 70 cycles a second. Nothing's shooting that fast. So I wouldn't freak out about that at all. But one of the key things to remember here is that this is a Poppet style regulator. It's really important. And in a Poppet style regulator, most manufacturers that manufacture these, like AKA and then Palmer's, are the kind of the big ones, CCM, stuff like that. They always recommend utilizing an oil, a light oil like Gold Cup, AKA Lube, Palmer's Lube, obviously the KC Outlast, or the stuff that which is basically the stuff we're using right now. And that's where they say they have the best performance. And remember, this type of regulator is generally a one dynamic O-ring, which is the piston O-ring, is the only dynamic O-ring comparative to a moving base regulator. It usually has two dynamic O-rings in general, which is the piston and then the piston tube O-ring. And so what I decided to do was, I'm going to go and do this test with a moving base regulator. And I'm going to use an oil, and then I'm going to use the Ultra Silk. And we'll go from there. So that's what this next run's going to be. So let's take a look at that. All right, I'm back, and I'm going to use this as Zoden reg. And this is one of these Zoden regs that I modified. And it's got fresh O-rings in it. And what I'm going to do is, right now I think it just has Dow 33 in it, but let's take it apart and see. Because I'm pretty sure that's what I lubed it with, but I don't remember exactly. Oh, nope, I just used oil in this guy. So this just has oil in it. So it has Outlast oil. So we'll stay with the Outlast oil. We'll screw this back together. And I put the little set screw back in there, and we're going to run it real quick and see what it does. So screw that back in. Oops. Yeah, that's going around. Perfect. All right. So let's load this thing back up in the rig. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and do a rapid. All right, and we're going to stop that. And first shot, 19 milliseconds. Second shot, 24 milliseconds. This is a weird, I don't know, the reg little hiccup does a 43, so we'll 18, 14. We had an average of 25 on that run, and an average of 12 on that run. All right, so we're back, and now I'm going to lube this. It's been cleaned. I'm going to lube it with Ultra Silk. All right, so we're going to continue lubing it for the manufacturer's recommendations. And remember, I'm going from an oil to this treatment with this. And this Zoden reg has been heavily modified with new reg seats, polished piston, and some the spring is make sure it was tuned and squared up so everything's good. But we're going to go through the reg dyno on this, and you guys will see the results here in a second. So let's get to that. So the interesting thing, let's go back to the beginning. Remember, we were with just oil, we're a little bit higher, okay? So this with Ultra Silk, it dropped this reg down to an 8 millisecond reg. Because what it's doing is This rag likes oil. It doesn't like oil. It doesn't like the oil. It likes the Ultra Silk. So I just took a $40 rag. I did some tuning to it. It's got a new rag seat in it, a different rag seat than factory. And the spring's been tuned by cleaning up, making it square for folks that are wondering. And I polished the parts. All things you can do at your house. No, nothing special here. And I ran it with Ultra Silk. Right? So we're at 8 milliseconds. 8 milliseconds on that. Oops. Wrong button. We'll push this back to that. Okay. Okay. 7.95. 7.5. 7.5. This makes this a pretty damn good rag now, doesn't it? Kind of curious what I did when I put this stuff on other rags, what it does on moving base rags. 8 milliseconds. 7.5. Here we're on an average of 9 milliseconds. This is more than fast enough for all your space guns out there that aren't going to use this rag anyway. So let's see. What was my... By the way, my last shot was 298 feet per second. So this run right here, I'm running right about 206. And look how flat that rag. Look at the response time on that rag is. Let's zoom. All right, so here's kind of my opinions on the lubrications here. So obviously on Poppet style regulators, the oil base, the light oil was to me worked the best, and the cream styles didn't work as good. But in all reality, the worst being the Ultra Silk at 15 milliseconds compared to the best being oil at 9.1. That's still really good. Okay, but when we move to a moving base regulator lubricant and to a lower quality moving base regulator, the Zodin regulator. And if you haven't done so, go look at my YouTube videos on the Zodin regular, the Zodin modified, and then look at this, finish this video off. You'll see that when I did the modified under just oil, it was running about 30 milliseconds. And then quickly in this, it was kind of all over the place, but when I moved to the Ultra Silk, the performance increase went up significantly. I dropped it all the way down to a 7.5 millisecond under slow fire and a 9.3 under rapid fire. So with that, the Ultra Silk did perform really well, although I didn't test it against the Dow 33 or the Tech T, but it performed extremely well. I'm not paid by Ultra Silk. I don't get any free products, although I did get a free t-shirt because I ordered 2 or 3 of these bottles. And so that's the only thing I got free. Caesar, I talked to Caesar about it and gave him kind of my findings. And he didn't care what I posted. He was very confident in his product. And he says, post good and bad. He says, that's what I want to see. But anyway, folks, go buy some, try some out for yourself and see how you like it. And once again, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that alarm button. Buckfire out.